The Raiders had a massive offseason with an essentially full house clean of a 4-13 football team. The first move was the hiring of soon-to-be 74, not 47, big difference there, year-old Pete Carroll. Carroll is under contract for 3 seasons and returns to football after a year away following the dismissal, which would be the way I would put it. There are many different ways for the way that was put, both on Pete's side and Seattle's side. From Seattle, he now is the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith returns to Pete on a 2-year, $75 million extension that keeps him with Las Vegas through the 2027 season. Geno is at roughly $37 million a year for the next 3 seasons, keeping him well below the highest-paid quarterbacks in the league. Geno, in 2 years with Pete, led Seattle to the playoffs and had 2 9-8 seasons, barely missing the postseason. In his second year with Pete Carroll, the Raiders selected Ashton Jeanty with the 6th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, which was the highest since Saquon and Bijan Robinson. Jeanty finished second in last year's Heisman voting, which some people had him as first, and nearly touched Barry Sanders' rushing record. He'll be an instant plug-and-play for Las Vegas, and he looks to be a star this season. The last big move of the offseason came when Christian Wilkins was released during the first week of training camp.
How lucky we are we're doing the Raiders now and not 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, Wilkins was refusing surgery, allegedly, and also dealt with a personal conflict in the locker room, allegedly, that involved him allegedly kissing another player on the head, allegedly. I've heard far worse stories on that, actually. Wilkins is due $10 million this year and $30 million next year in dead cap money, kind of putting the Raiders in a tough spot next year. Geno has been, the past 2 seasons, top 10 in a lot of categories that matter towards a quarterback. Record, top 10 completion percentage, top 10 in passing yards, and second to only Patrick Mahomes in game-winning drives the past 2 seasons. He now joins a Raiders crew who made I can't even tell you how many different additions and subtractions they made this offseason. I'll start specifically with the offense. They bring in Ashton Jeanty, losing Amir Abdullah and Alexander Madison. They bring in Jack Beck, losing DJ Turner, also losing a tight end in Harrison Bryant. I'm really high on Jack Beck this season. And then other additions offensively, they added offensive guard Alex Kappa and Raheem Mostert, who I was flamed for, saying there was a huge loss from Miami Dolphins, even though he was a Pro Bowler only 2 years ago. Now, the offense, who some will say is actually a terrible offense, has Brock Bowers, who was absolutely insane last season, at 1,100 receiving yards, basically 1,200 at 1,194, 112 catches and 5 touchdowns. Here's how he ranks all time, and as well as in the NFL last season. He was top 10 in receiving yards for a tight end in the NFL last season, 3rd in receptions, 19th in touchdowns. For tight ends, he was 1st in every category except touchdowns, where he was 3rd with only 5. And then as a rookie all-time, this is all-time rookie receiver, not even tight end, 11th all-time receiving yards, and he broke the single-season rookie receiving reception record with 112. He was also, of course, number 1 all-time in all of those as a tight end. I think he's, from a fantasy football perspective, I hate that I'm throwing this out this early. I would draft him inside. I would draft him in the... He would be my first pick outside of that top 5. They're essentially a lock, which is the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Saquon, Bijan, and Puka Nacua.
Sure.
Like, he is the 6th. I think he's the 6th pick.
Really?
He's that much valuable. I mean, look at his NFL ranks last season, being top 10 in receiving yards and 3rd in receptions. In a PPR league, Brock Bowers is going to be insane, considering the value that he is at tight end as well.
And lack of weapon.
Yeah, and he's the only weapon there, so he's going to get the ball so much.
He's not the only weapon.
Okay, but it's not like the other options are fantastic, elite.
I think
he's going to be
Ashton
the primary focus.
Is going to be a top 10 to top 5 running back in the league. Jacoby Myers is also being undersold here. Trey Tucker is not as great, but Jack Beck is the big one for me. I think Jack Beck is actually going to be really, really good this season. And the second receiver to Jacoby Myers, he may end up being 2nd receiving yards. I think he's got that much potential. 6'1" out of TCU, has an incredible story as well. And he joins the Raiders. He'll instantly start, and I think he's going to be a great weapon for them. How do you guys view this offense, Geno Smith aside, or you can talk about Geno if you'd like. Is this offense good enough to play well? And I guess we'll go to Jack first, since Sanders has an insane take on the Raiders.
Play well. Well, one, it's like I don't exactly what does that mean. That may be a little stretch. I do think the offense
Can they be top half in the league?
They can be, yes. But more what I was going to say is I think the offense is good enough to be competitive in games. It's not
Sure.
like you're going to go into weekends and be like, oh, the other team scored 2 touchdowns. The Raiders are like, it's probably over, right?
Yeah.
I do think there's enough firepower with Brock Bowers, and I do expect Genty to have a very good season for a rookie. And Geno Smith has shown he can be very, very productive, albeit this is a new situation than kind of where he had his revival. So hopefully it continues over. I expect it to. But yeah, I expect this. At the very least, I expect this offense to be competitive week in and week out and find ways to put some points on the board.
Yeah, offensive coordinator is going to be Chip Kelly. Obviously one of the better offensive minds in the sport. So I expect this offense to just really hit the ground running and be... offense for me is the engine. I'll get into the defense later. I don't have a lot of faith in the defense. And I think offense is the engine that's going to have the Raiders win games, which puts a lot of pressure on my guy, Geno Smith.
True.
Sanders, you are
I'm very low on the Raiders.
historically low on the Oakland Raiders.
Yes.
In fact, I would like to see the last time they only won 2 games.
I have them going 2-15.
they
In
go
part
0-16
because
at
when
some
I was
point?
doing other teams, no, I think the Lions and Browns are the only teams to have gone 0-16. When I was doing other teams' picks, every time the Raiders came up on the schedule, I was like, that is a win. I'm not high on the Raiders. I'm very low. I'm not 2-15 low, but also I didn't want to go back and change picks. So I gave them a win. They've got a win over the Giants maybe, and it's not a lot of wins. I am low, I admit. I have them beating the Chargers and the Titans.
Insane.
You have them beating your team.
Yeah,
But
at
going-
home. Yeah.
That's fucking insane. I had to drop another one. Sorry.
You good.
Look.
Um,
I just like... well, we're going to have to work on this whole fandom thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
But you're new. You're
I'm
so
new.
being
excited to
being
hear.
a realist here. Like it's the fluke game. That's how the
So you
Raiders
never
get their
predict
second win.
you'd never predict the fluke game against your team.
No, dude.
That's insane.
Have you seen JP's Saints prediction?
Facts. He has a bunch of fluke games. The Saints are all on the delivering end of the fluke.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
No, I do not like the wide receiver weapons beyond Brock Bowers. I know Jacoby Myers was a 900-yard receiver last year. I do not think Geno Smith
with
has.
Aiden O'Connell and
Yeah,
Gardner Minshew.
I don't think Geno Smith has the ability to elevate weapons, and I don't like the weapons he has other than Brock Bowers. I didn't get a chance to look at offensive line play, but I'm not going to speak about something I don't know. But
I'll pick up while you look at
yeah,
it.
yeah,
if you want.
appreciate it.
I have to, looking at Jack Beck, I have to at least respect him and hope for greatness, partially because of his story. Like you mentioned, loss of his brother in the pre-draft process. Very sad. And also, he shares a name with me.
Yes.
So, that right there alone is enough to get me on board with the Jack Beck hype. I'll buy in.
Yeah,
Yeah, offensive line play, not good.
it wasn't terrible. It was about average. It was 12th or 13th in pass block and
Now,
Geno has wheeled and dealed behind
20th
a
in
poor
run
O-line.
block. True.
He has been historically a top 10 quarterback in the NFL the last 2 seasons with a terrible offensive line.
Fair.
And I think they've got Aura at right tackle. Their
Who's
right
that?
tackle is DJ Glaze.
That's pretty fire.
That is awesome.
Sick name. A
Is
22-year-old
he good?
playing in his second
he's
year.
okay. He's a young guy. Okay.
I don't know if he got to start or not.
Yeah, can we see if DJ Glaze has any?
How
How do you
DJ
spell Glaze?
DJ Glaze
Z-E?
like a
Like a
donut,
yeah.
Yeah, it's
or
okay.
like-
The standard
like
way
Chris
to spell.
Collinsworth.
He wasn't awful. Finished with a 66.1 offensive grade, which is not terrible.
He was really good against your Chargers in week
As
7.
he was
Was
a
he a
tackle,
3rd or 4th round pick?
third round pick.
Yeah, he was a 3rd round pick. They
Had
also
3 sacks. But not
have
terrible.
2 3rd-round picks as well. Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant, they're offensive linemen that could plug into these spots. Alex Kappa is going to start, though. Jackson Powers-Johnson is a no-doubt center start. Dylan Parham, I think, is where you could see a change. Colton Miller is technically their franchise left tackle, so I don't expect that to change. But I'm excited to see DJ Glaze. He also looks sick. If you look up his,
Yeah.
he's a cool-looking dude as well. So I'm excited to see how he plays this year. Offense, I think, is the complete engine of this team. Defense is where I'm concerned. The loss of Christian Wilkins matters.
Yeah, for sure.
While it could potentially help the locker room, I guess, it now makes Max Crosby the only pass rusher for sure, unless Tyree Wilson has
See the Texas Tech guy?
Texas Tech guy who was a
Spent some time at Texas A&M.
Unless he just shows something in his third season for whatever reason, a la Kyle Pitts. Although Kyle Pitts never did that.
About to say he has yet to do that.
I think
his drills were getting memed on Twitter, which doesn't mean a ton, but
yeah.
As someone that doesn't know what a good football drill is supposed to look like, he did not necessarily wow me with his explosive.
So you don't know what a good one looks like, but you know what a bad one looks like?
Well, I'm just
like
like,
saying?
It's not great when I see someone do that, and I'm like, I think I could do that.
That's fair.
Which I know I could not. But like when it looks that way, when it's like that doesn't look that hard.
You think you should, in practice, you feel like you should be a lot more impressed with guys' athleticism because that's where it should be on display.
I want to give them credit, though, specifically Tom Brady and the front office, Al Golden.
I forget Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I was like, where are you going with
Al
this?
Golden?
I can't. The GM.
Isn't Al Golden the
owner? Al Golden's the defensive coordinator
for the
Bengals now.
Mark Davis.
I don't know why I said Al Golden.
Who is Al Golden?
I don't know.
The defensive coordinator of the Bengals.
Yeah.
Was at Notre Dame for a while,
Mark
I think.
Davis, though, they have done a great job in at least replacing what they lost. So they, like I said, offensively replaced that. Defensively, the same story. They lost 3 defensive backs in Marcus Epps, Nate Hobbs, and Trevon Moehrig, who were all starters for them. They replaced that with Eric Stokes, Lonnie Johnson Jr., and Jeremy Chin. And while none of those are splash moves, they were all also starters last season for their football teams. In the linebacker crew as well, they lose Kayvon Chason and Robert Spillane as well. And they replaced that with Jermaine Pratt, who was actually an incredible middle linebacker for Cincinnati's previous years. A Landon Roberts, who's got to be so old at this point, and then Devin White. And while those are not also great names, they are replacements of starters. So I don't think it's going to be a huge drop from a defense that wasn't great last year. I'm high on them. Jack you're still low on them at 6-11.
I mean, that puts them right below their over-under.
I think the big thing is I have faith in Geno Smith, but
sure.
Yeah.
I have faith in Pete Carroll as well and creating a different kind of locker room and creating a winner. And they have no choice but to win in these 2 to 3 years because Pete's 74. He's only under contract for 3 years, so you can really only expect him to coach for 3 years, and I only expect him to coach for 2 as well.
Yeah.
Also, Geno has that contract for 3 years. And the quarterback play is just going to be substantially better. Last year, they were arguably the worst quarterback room in the NFL, and they were almost unarguably the worst running back room in the NFL. And they add Geno Smith, who is at least a top 13 quarterback, top half in the league, and they add Ashton Jeanty, who I expect to be a top 10 running back, and we've seen that from rookie running backs as well, their production even in their first year. And I think that's a huge part of offense. It's can you run the football? Is your quarterback good enough? So I think that helps them a ton. And not that Vegas knows ball, although historically you would say they do, considering the house always wins. The win total is 7.5 as well. So I think they're go either way. They could easily go 6-11, but I expect them to be over that win total. I have bet that as well.
A couple things I would say to that. I approach the Pete Carroll hiring, I viewed a little bit differently. I view him as a guy brought in to change the culture and not necessarily like they have to win now. I view Pete Carroll as a steady hand at the tiller at a organization that's had a lot of head coaches over the past 10, 15 years. They've been through a lot of different guys, a lot of quarterbacks, and Derek Carr. They played Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. I view it
Jarrett
more...
Stidham,
right. I view the Pete Carroll and Geno Smith thing, the Geno Smith and Pete Carroll combination as let's just calm everything down. Like, yeah, they're not trying... Like, they are still trying to win, but it is not... I believe, were brought in more to change the culture of the locker room and change the culture of the team.
Maybe. I just don't see, like, given that they are not longevity pieces, it doesn't...
That's why I
don't think it makes sense to bring in pieces to be just a bridge specifically a coach and a quarterback, to be a bridge for 3 years. That isn't, unless it is to be like Chip Kelly is hired up,
Yeah.
and then they look and draft a quarterback.
Right.
Which I expect is probably what's going to happen, but they have no reason to try and be bad. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm not saying they're trying to be bad. I just don't I think that they were brought in so that this round of rookies is playing under Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, right? Geno Smith, one of the more experienced quarterbacks in the league. I mean, and he's in his early 30s, 33 probably, somewhere.
Yeah,
around there.
early 30s.
So I mean, he's compared to guys like Mahomes and he's an experienced quarterback, a mature guy. Bring him in, bring in Pete Carroll, who, while he was a very good coach, is also an experienced coach. And I don't know, I just feel like they are going to be able to help change that culture of Las Vegas from what has not been successful with the Derek Carr leaving and then the Devontae Adams drama, being hurt but not being hurt, and getting traded. So they were not brought in by any means to lose. Pete Carroll's too good a head coach, and Geno Smith is, in my opinion, an average quarterback of 16 to 10 top 16 to top 10 quarterback. And so they were not brought in to lose by any means. At some point, I would love to talk about the emergency podcast situation, because I think I would like to explain some stuff.
We'll wrap it up with that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like torn on who I agree with in this scenario. I don't really know why both can't be true, to be honest.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
Pete Carroll
Could be the right guy.
this steadying force, while also being the guy that helped them play winning football again.
Yeah.
Right. I think both can be true, and they can hope for both. That may be a little unrealistic,
No, I think that's fair.
but
Pete
they
Carroll,
can get there. I mean, Pete Carroll's been a successful head coach before.
Yeah.
In terms of him writing the culture, I want to take it back to the Christian Wilkins thing. Not necessarily the best start. Well, I guess potentially they're getting rid of a locker room cancer by getting rid of him. Though I am very curious as to what actually happened.
Yeah.
Because hard to believe a little kiss set everything off as it did.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone that played high school sports, I know it's not the NFL, but like things just get a little weird in the locker room
Yeah.
or on the bus. Like
They do.
things happen, and I don't think a little kiss is that out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
So
Kiss the homies goodnight.
That's an insane, just to say that. But it is not necessarily false. I would say maybe a kiss is out of the ordinary, maybe. I don't know what locker rooms
I don't think you need to say anything else, Jack.
I would not continue.
You've already said weird things happen. Things get weird in the locker room.
But it's not.
and what is weird,
It's
right?
not
Nothing like
nothing.
crazy.
And
Let's get back to football.
A
I
kiss
think
isn't crazy.
I think the biggest thing on it, though, was it had. I don't think that might have been a factor, but I think it was the surgery thing.
Sure.
yeah.
And the fact that there was a decent chance that, one, if he got surgery, he probably would have missed much of the season. But if he didn't, he was going to be playing on a hurt foot. He wouldn't be as productive, and he was due a lot of money. But at the same time, you gave him the damn contract, so literally just pay him what you owe him.
Yeah.
Which I think is that's just a huge problem with the NFL right now. Anyways, they have so much power over these players that they're able to do things like cut them and really cut
Over a little disagreement.
cut a ton of their money.
Yeah.
Over something like that. But I think that's a factor. I don't think it's going to hold anything on Pete, and I've heard Pete speak, and I think he's in a good spot. He looks old. He talks old. He didn't really have that same fire that he did in Seattle. So there's some concern there, but he has to be better than their previous quarterback, Pierce, and obviously way better than
Head coach, not
Josh
quarterback.
McDaniels. And as well, I would just push back. I don't think they're going 2-15. They haven't gone.
Yeah.
I think that is
They're low. They haven't gone two. They haven't won 2 or fewer games since 2006.
Yeah.
They also, the last time they were at 3 wins was when the devil himself, Dennis Allen, was the head coach of the
Sure.
Las Vegas, or that time the Oakland Raiders. So I just don't. I think that's way too low.
I also want to say, talking about him coming in and you view him as the guy to come be the steadying force and establish the culture, which you never said he was going to be successful. But I think it's really hard to establish a culture when you go 2-15.
That's fair.
Because people love to win too much, and players losing that much are going to get upset
Pete
and
loves
going to
to win
try
that
and
much.
Yeah.
like that's just a locker room can't be healthy going 2-15. It simply can't.
So like I said, I don't know that 2-15 was in part because I had already done picks and I didn't want to change a bunch of stuff because I just didn't feel confident in any of those switches because like I said, I'm not high on the Raiders. If I did the Raiders first, if we did the AFC West first, I'm sure I would have had them winning 5, 6, 7 games. But I will say I do think Pete Carroll he came to bring a winning culture because I think that's something that the Raiders have just struggled even with talent the past couple of years.
They haven't had that since the Gruden days.
Yeah, and so
brutal.
They brought it they've just been trying a lot of things and swinging and missing, right? They tried to bring Devontae Adams to pair with Derek Carr to bring back that college football magic. They tried they traded for Khalil Mack, and that just didn't really ever, right? They traded for Khalil Mack, right?
No, they drafted Khalil Mack.
And then traded him to the Bears. That's what it was. I had it back.
Since John Gruden, 2002, where they lost in the division round, the year after they lost in the Super Bowl, but since, including that year they were in the Super Bowl, they've had 3 winning seasons in 22 years. So I think Pete like Sanders is saying, could be a huge contributor and something to turn that around. Now they've gone 8-8 4 times in all of those years, but still they've yet to have a winning season.
Did they not have
outside of 3?
Okay, I was about to say I thought they had a good season with Derek Carr before he broke something.
They have lost in the wild card twice with Derek Carr. One he did not play in, and the other they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, who went on to play in the Super Bowl.
Yep. As
far as their schedule goes, I think the schedule is a factor in them winning more than 2 games as well. They play the AFC South, and they also play the NFC East, which means you'll get the Giants game.
Sure.
Which I would expect to be a win since I have the Giants on 0-17 candidate watch.
Yep. I think I had that as a win.
They'll be fine in division.
You do not.
I do not. That's my Giants fluke game.
Fine in division.
Well, I had to give the Giants a couple games too, which is why the Giants don't win here. But it is how it goes.
I think they'll be fine in division. I think I'm gonna enjoy watching them. Because I'm really gonna try to get Brock Bowers in as many leagues as possible because I expect him to be absolutely elite this season. I do want to look at week 2. Massive game there. My guy, Geno Smith, host your guy,
This
Justin Herbert.
This is the ultimate
Monday Night
bragging
Football.
right game. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And we have reverse picks on them as well. So I would like to place a wager here.
I'm down.
Right here and now between us two over that game. Since
we both have
prime time.
We both have the Raiders winning, so we both have our guy losing, right?
No,
am I looking?
I have the Raiders losing, and you have.
That's what he's saying. It's
the
reversed.
Raiders winning.
That's what I just said. We both have the Raiders winning.
Oh, you're talking about them.
Yeah, my bad.
But this is between y'all.
Herbert's not his guy though. Jaden Daniels is his guy. Justin Herbert's your guy.
Oh, so
he's a Justin
slash
Herbert
your
guy.
team. Slash your team.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
That's more importantly. I am wearing a Geno Smith jersey. So Geno Smith is my guy, and I'm a Raiders guy this year.
Okay.
I would like to place a wager on that game since it's prime time. Second week of the season.
Yeah.
Do
we need to wait till odds come out, or is that going to be a?
I mean, we could get the spread on it right now. But what are we thinking there for a potential?
Dude, I'm not a betting guy. You
wager there. I'll get you the odds on it. Just so we can see. My guess is the Chargers are favored by 1.5. But let us see. What's your guess, Jack?
You were right.
You
last
said
time
who's favored by
guessed.
1.5?
He thinks Chargers
I
are favored by 1.5.
I think the Chargers are.
It's
favored
in
by
Los
1.5.
Angeles.
It's in Los Angeles.
No, it's in.
I was gonna say I thought it was in Las Vegas.
What you said? Week 2?
Week 2.
I think it'll be
I'm
Chargers.
looking
I
at
think it'll be
that.
Chargers 2.5.
I'm looking at the wrong.
Hold on. Here it is.
Wait, is it 3 points in the NFL? Is that kind of the standard?
3 points is your typical home field advantage.
Then I'll say 3.5 because I feel like the Chargers will be favored over the
why
Raiders.
is it not there?
I think the Chargers will be favored over the Raiders, and then you add the 3 points for home field advantage. If we can find this could be tough. Should I tell my Geno story real
I'll
quick?
find it.
I found it I found it before. I don't know why it's not popping up.
Should I tell my emergency podcast story? All right, Geno Smith gets traded to the Las Vegas. Signs of traded, not right. It was a trade. And I text the guys, and I was like,
No, he's signed.
But it was because of the Sam Darnold trade, kind of. I think that maybe is where you're like.
Except did Sam Darnold just signed too, I think. I don't think
Yeah, you're right.
it was all free agency. I think Geno signed with the Raiders before Darnold signed with the Seahawks. Anyway, Geno Smith
week 2
ends up
last year.
on the Las Vegas Raiders, and I texted the guys in the middle of basketball season, which I'm not the biggest basketball guy. I prefer football. And I said, emergency pod, ? And I got clowned. Like, why? This doesn't matter. Geno Smith doesn't matter. And I was like, no, this is important. And the reason I think it is important is because of the way I view the Raiders. Because I view Geno Smith as the kind of quarterback you bring in if you have a very good roster like the Lions.
Sure.
All right? I view him as a Jared Goff kind of quarterback that you bring in to distribute the ball to weapons like JSN and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I don't think the Raiders have those weapons. And so when he ended up in Las Vegas, I was like blown away. I was like, why are the Raiders doing this? What kind of team building approach is this that they have a pretty incomplete roster, in my opinion, and they're bringing in a veteran quarterback to try and win, but I don't think they have the roster to win. That was the whole reason it was a team building podcast, is I didn't understand the Las Vegas Raiders approach. I think they have a young roster, right? They've got Ashton Genty. They've got young wide receivers. They've got a young tight end. I was like, I don't understand why you're bringing in a 30-something-year-old quarterback to try and...
He's been top 10 in a lot of categories.
Correct. Why are you bringing in that guy to try and win with a young roster that I don't think is ready to win right now? He's 35.
So that they can win.
But that was my whole thing, is I don't think the roster is in win now mode. Like JP said with the Broncos, that they're a year or two away. I would say the same thing about the Raiders, where...
They got to be further behind, I feel like.
Yeah, I would say they're a couple years away from being...
I mean, because the Broncos are basically... you have them going 10-7.
From being like...
Super Bowl contenders?
No. Like AFC, like get out of the
winning
division.
a playoff game. Because
I
they're
would
never winning the division as long as Mahomes is the quarterback.
Yes, divisional is what I was going to say. Getting out of the divisional. So winning...
So getting to the AFC
Championship
game.
I think the Broncos are like a year
They're
or two
never
away
going
from
to do
being
that.
capable of that. I think the Broncos with that roster are a year or two away from being capable of that.
I don't know if I ever trust Bo Nix to get me there, personally.
We'll see.
As good as he was
That would
last year.
require Bo Nix winning 2 playoff games. Because he's not going to be the number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, that's fair. I just don't.
Back on track.
I don't think that the Raiders have that kind of roster. I think they're a very young roster, and so I didn't get bringing in Geno Smith to what I view as an incomplete roster currently. That was the whole reason I wanted an emergency podcast. It was not because I thought Geno Smith going to the Raiders meant the Chiefs should be shaking in their boots or anything. It was not anything like that. It was just I don't get it, and I still don't necessarily get it. I get it now more that it's had time to simmer, but that was the whole reason. What was the other thing? Oh, the Stephon Diggs thing. That was before.
Yeah. The Chargers are favored by 3 points week 2.
I was so close. I said 3.5.
We split it.
I would like to take the 3 points in this bet, unless you're going to give me better odds on a money line.
And
But you're saying
there has to be
you're just taking the Raiders to cover.
monetary
Is what
value.
you're saying? We're playing the spread.
I would
here.
like to play the spread, but we can. I wouldn't mind playing straight up either,
I think
since they're at home.
let's just do straight up.
Okay.
So it'd be like, would that be even? No, that'd be slightly in my favor.
What would you like to put on the line, sir?
I don't know. I don't know how to bet stuff that's not money.
I mean, something that I was thinking, but this isn't. It's not that big of like a punishment. It's not that big of a
That's
thing.
fine. It doesn't have to
But,
be
like-
cut off a finger.
Well, obviously, but I'm just, or this could even just be part of it. But like, okay, say the Raiders win,
Okay.
right? You got to take to your social media
Oh.
and like act like you're a Raiders fan for the night, or like post the Raiders.
Tweet. I would like you to tweet. Geno Smith is better than Justin Herbert,
I think that's very fair.
Oh.
And he has to
And-
tweet Justin Herbert is better than Geno Smith.
and you can never delete it.
Okay. Okay. And if
Yeah.
if the Chargers win, not cover, if the Chargers win, you have to tweet Justin Herbert's better than Geno Smith.
I'm fine with that.
That's pretty good. I'll take that.
Terms settled.
Yeah, that's
Bet.
that's a good bet. Who
And-
came up? Was that you that just came up? No.
I mean, I was in the same vein.
Yeah.
But he's landed
The socials
plane.
was a good idea. I didn't know where you were going with it, and then JP cooked
Socials
with
just the best way to like do it realistically.
yeah. Am
So-
I allowed to?
I was thinking almost like a fantasy football punishment, like loser does the Wendy's 4x4 or something.
Yeah.
I thought you were about
That's
to be
what I
like
was-
loser cuts
that
their
was-
best player off
What
their
was the
team.
bet we were talking about earlier?
Oh, that would have been crazy.
Like
too.
you have Jamar Chase. You have to
Loser
give him Jamar
trades
Chase.
their first round pick for the other person's 14th round pick.
Nope. But once again, that's too far away.
Also, that'd get vetoed.
That's how you have to do a tactical first round pick there.
Yeah. You just
Ooh.
sandbag.
Yeah, I take
Is that
Josh Jacobs. I mean, he's a
Yeah.
fine first.
There's no point really in doing that, though,
No,
to
not
be
at
honest,
all.
because you might as well just bank on yourself winning.
Yeah.
Because you're making yourself worse at that point, regardless.
Yep.
Is that it on the
Also
Raiders?
true.
I think that is everything for the Raiders.
I think we should circle back and just kind of re-land the plane, even if we already have.
I'm down.
Because
Las Vegas Raiders, we disagree a lot on.
one of our biggest discrepancies, probably.
Yeah.
8-point swing.
If not the
Across
biggest
3 people,
discrepancy.
yeah.
Like against the an 8-game swing between the highest and lowest is probably the highest.
Tech Foul Pod agrees with me a lot. Can you go back to that?
Yeah, Tech Foul Pod.
I have the exact same schedule.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Me and us as a group. So
Are all-
I like kind of was the driving force.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It kind of yeah. So that's probably
Well, it makes sense.
Because one's so high and one's so low. Like
Yeah.
I know it
to
does.
each other out,
But
but yeah.
I mean, the Packers is 6
Still, you hold a
games
lot of
between
impact.
me and JP.
sure.
That's probably going to be the high. Oh wait, the Lions. No, because the Lions is also 6 between JP and
You have the Broncos winning the division. How about that?
you. Yep. So we have a lot of discrepancy on the Raiders. I'm low. JP is high. We have a bet based on week 2 and the outcome of that game.
Which I like because I kind of wanted to bet on the Raiders because I think you're a little crazy in your prediction, and I personally don't see them hitting double-digit wins.
Yeah.
So I like that there's something
You want to
here.
bet on that?
Then I'm hit
Double-digit wins?
16-1.
No, don't take those odds, Jay.
No. that is what the odds would kind of need to be, though. I mean, maybe not
Yeah.
quite that.
For
but
you,
They are
probably, yeah.
plus 420 to make, or they were plus 325 to make the playoffs. They were essentially the same odds for the Broncos to win.
That 3-1.
Yeah.
And to make the playoffs, you're probably gonna have to be at that. You're gonna
You'd have to
the
probably
9-10
win
week.
10 games in
Yeah.
the AFC.
So they're roughly 3-1.
I don't see it happening personally. But
Yeah.
anyway, we have them going 6-11 as a group. That can round out our very. I did not expect to talk about the Raiders for this long.
I did not either.
Well, it started with a Geno Smith.
Well, even
Herbert,
taking that
but
out.
Yeah,
still.
fair.